Hello and welcome to Human Systems Engineering 542 for Fall 2018 semester. This class is called Foundations of Human Systems Engineering, and I'll be your professor, Dr. Russell Brannigan. Thank you for joining us, and we'll talk a little bit about the class this semester, what kinds of things we'll be doing in the class, what kinds of things will be required of you, and hopefully what kinds of things I'll be providing you so that will facilitate your learning. So I'll start by just going through the syllabus, which you should see up here. It's focused on human factors, which studies and applies, really, knowledge from all of the human sciences. So when we say all of the human sciences, that includes not only psychology, which is largely my background, but other areas like sociology, anthropology, medicine, and other areas that focus on human beings. And the idea here really is that if you look at most organizations, these days and in the past, they've had all kinds of experts in all kinds of things. So if you look at an engineering organization or a medical organization, you have experts in mechanics and physics, and we call those folks mechanical engineers. We have people that are experts in electronics and so forth, and we call them electrical engineers. We have people that are experts in accounting, and people who are experts in marketing, and people who are experts in human resources, and others. But we very rarely have people who are experts who have decided to dedicate their life's work to the study of human beings. And that's largely what we're trying to do with human factors. That is, specifically, if you think about any system that you are designing, the most complex part of that system, no matter what, is typically the user who's actually operating this. They're the least predictable, they're the most variable, and typically they're the most important part of the system. In fact, often they're the reason the system exists to begin with. So it seems like a crime to ignore things related to understanding humans, given the fact that humans are typically the most important part of a system. And that's what this class is designed to not only highlight, but hopefully remedy. So that will be the sort of foundations of human systems engineering. If you are a human systems engineering graduate student, this, as the name implies, should serve as the foundation for the rest of your studies. So to that end, we will be discussing a lot of the basics of human factors, including the basics of how humans work, their learning, their memory, their decision making, their vision, their hearing, etc., and how knowing about that enables us to design not only better products, but better processes, better services, better environments, better everything. The idea, of course, is that humans are everywhere. They're the people who buy our products, the people who use our products, they're the people we hire to make our products. So again, just hopefully not to beat a dead horse here, however, again, we need people who are experts in human beings, and that's why I'm glad you've decided to pursue this as part of your career. So let's talk about the readings. There will be two books. One is by John Lee, Chris Wickens, and others, called Designing for People, An Introduction to Human Systems Engineering. It comes, as I recall, as a paperback book. There's the ISBN number. But it also might come as an electronic copy. And if so, feel free to get whichever those two things you want. It's perfectly fine to get whichever. The other one is by Lidwell, Holden, and Butler. And this is a little bit more of a fun book, but interesting, actually. And it's called Universal Principles of Design. And it's subtitled 125 Ways to Enhance Usability, Influence Perception, etc., etc. And this is a good book. Really what it does is it mentions one thing related to human factors or design sort of in each section. And each section is sort of 1 or 2 pages, so it's really easy to sort of pop in there and get an understanding of a particular phenomenon as well as some descriptions associated with it. pictures and so on. So as we continue, the course objectives are to make sure that you understand these human mental capabilities and limitations, and that you can make sure that you can apply those to the design of all of those things I mentioned before. Amongst those are understanding the principles and guidelines of user interface design, understanding how human factors can integrate into a product design cycle so that you're doing these things in a way that's really good for your organization and good for you professionally, in a way that makes you as effective as possible. And sadly, organizational politics exist. We'll get a chance to talk about some of those, including some things I've learned along the way about how to reduce and improve the organizational politics, especially surrounding human factors and usability. So next, you can see the dates and topics that we will cover. You'll notice that prior to every class, I'm going to ask you to write a half-page reaction paper. And that reaction paper will have to do with the reading that was supposed to be covered before that class, actually. So you can see on September 6th, I would like you to create something like, write something like, describe top-down and bottom-up processing of visual information. How does each affect perception? And I would like you to submit that in Blackboard, and there are places in there for Blackboard. And one of the things I just recognized, it's my pagination here, I just jumped down to September 6th. I didn't mean to do that. Actually, what I meant to tell you is on August 21st, we have questions for you that I'll ask you to fill out in that submission. For example, what is human factors engineering? What are its goals? How does it relate to systems thinking, etc.? And we'll do that before almost every class. But I think it's really important to get you to think about how this material applies to your current work, your future work, your professional goals, what you know now so far about psychology and human behavior, and what you think you need to know. Because I can tell you, I've been at this a long time, and understanding how humans behave and what makes humans tick takes many, many careers, not just one. But throughout your career, you'll get better and better at this, and as a result, be able to make more of an impact. When it comes to grading, there will be 3 in-class exams, which will be essay questions and definitions. Each in-class exam will be 25 points each. You'll notice I value organized and comprehensive answers, especially ones that can cite seminal articles that are discussed in the books. So I'll really want you to know this stuff. You'll probably be time constrained, so we'll ask you to write a lot and write well and write quickly. They'll most likely, interestingly, I guess I felt the need to drive this home by saying it twice, they will most likely be time constrained. And so you'll need to be familiar with the material, organize your answers quickly, etc. 15 points will be related to attendance. That is, I want people to show up for this class. You're paying for this class, and there's an awful lot of smart people in the class that I want you to learn from, in addition to myself. So I would like you to be there for this, and as a result, attendance will count for 15% of your grade. Or actually 15 points, it's not a percent. Class participation. That will be worth 20 points. Basically, the class relies heavily on reflection, association, and discussion. The reaction papers that I told you about will be a total of 36 points, and so on. That actually adds up to a total of 146 points. So you can see the different weights sort of associated with that. So I think I'm going to, that's a pretty quick covering of the syllabus, but I think I'm going to break here and then move on to the first lecture here in a moment.